Hey, everybody, it's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? We want to welcome you to our show. Tonight is Tuesday, April 23rd. Tonight is going to be great. Leo, hit that promo.
I'm a big fish, a small pond. My day's free and my night's long. I create my own reality. Who I am is fine with me. I'm as famous, I'm as famous as I wanna be. Who I am is fine with me. It's who I am. It's who I am.
Wow. Woohoo! All I keep hearing in my head is boom, dum, 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 dum. Boom, dum, 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 dum. It's all going to make sense when the show gets started. So we are coming to you. I am here live in New York City. Leo is in Idlewild, California, and I'm always very grateful to my Leo, my sidekick, for running our show because I have no clue how to do that. So I am forever grateful for our pal Leo. Danielle Alexandria of Danielle Alexandria Alchemy has joined us. She's on the first one, and Leo calls her our alarm clock. And she is amazing. She's a psychic, a medium, a spiritual healer. Our friend, she is very wise beyond her years and lives. She's had many lives, and we just happen to be privy to hers here with us. So Danielle, if you want to find Danielle, if you're someone that enjoys that kind of thing, which God knows I do, and I think everybody should gift themselves something, go to DanielleAlexandriaAlchemy.com. And that is, she does spirit animal reading. She does past lives. She does all kinds of things. And D is the real deal. I would not even be mentioning her name if I didn't think she was. I've gifted many, many, many things to many friends that Danielle has done. Okay, so she says, "Happy Passover to anyone celebrating." That's nice, T. That's right. It's Passover week. I sometimes I remember things that, and sometimes I don't. And that is one thing that is happening this week. I think it was yesterday, right? Started. John Pietera says, "We love that theme song." Me too. And it's so funny. Jean says, "Happy Tuesday, Maria and Leo." Hi, Jean Simpson Dunn. Jean Simpson Dunn is my friend from high school. That's how long we've been friends, a long time. And Jean knows me, has known me a long time. So Jean has seen it all. Um, Jean is an amazing director. She's a performer. She runs a theater company out there in Danville, Illinois. And we're very proud of you, Jean. And Catherine Salvio, Cat here. Hi, my loves. Hi, Cat Salvio. Cat Salvio is coming to us from Vero Beach, um, Florida. She is a real estate agent. If you are in that area, so Cat, type in. I think it's uh, Vero Beach area, Boynton Beach area. That whole. If you're looking for some property out there, and I know a lot of people retire out that way, or just want winter places, please call Catherine Salvio, our friend. And Catherine, why don't you post your website up there or some way that they can reach you, honey bunny? And we're going to go out and visit Catherine very soon, Judy and I. Although Judy said the other day that we should go separately, and you know what? She's right. Because when we go together, we always fight over Catherine's attention. So Catherine, today we were talking about it. So I may be coming out first. Anyway, Danielle says, "Thank you, my friend. You are so welcome, D. You know, I wouldn't say anything nice about you if it wasn't true. Um, I always jam out to the theme song too. John and Lori. Yes, Vero Beach. Thank you, Catherine. By the way, you know who's going to be in Vero Beach? Our friend Al Lambert, who is I was introduced to Al by my best buddy in the whole world, Lynn Porter's genius. She is going to be. Actually, let's go back to the theme song for a second. Dum 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 dum. You, as soon as you hear that, you get excited, right? You're like, what's happening? And that is the theme song to Law and Order. And I hear that. I'm hearing that. I heard that all day in my head today. Two reasons. Our friend Dominic Pupa, who is he's our friend. He's a comedian. He runs the podcast called fixing famous people. And he was losing his mind today because Law and Order was filming outside his apartment. And Mariska Hargitay, I think that's how you say her name, was literally outside his window. So he posted the reel. He filmed on his phone, and then he posted it to his Instagram. And guess who liked it? Mariska. So he's losing his mind. He also is the producer on Long Island Medium, Teresa Caputo, and I think that started this week on Lifetime TV. So go and check Dominant out. He's actually in some of the episodes this time. But
they have a Beyond the Episodes series that they're showing afterwards, and where it's him and Teresa, and they're talking about things that they haven't done it. He looks great.
he looks amazing. Yes, he looks amazing. I love Dominic, and he's so funny. He's been on our show a ton of times. But I'm going to brag a little bit. He's not the only one that has a Long Island Medium, because Danielle Alexandria of Danielle Alexandria Alchemy is our Long Island Medium. She's a Long Island girl. I think there's something in the water out there. I'm just telling you. I mean,
it should
anyway.
be Long Island Comare.
I love that. I love it. Leo, you're getting more Italian by the day. So speaking of Long Island, I don't know what you guys and girls are doing this Sunday, but I know what I'm doing this Sunday. I am going to Casa Rianos in Mineola, Long Island, to see my best friend, Lynn Portage, genius. She is playing out there. And me, Susie, Bill Goffey, we're getting in the car and we're driving out there. I spoke to Anthony Fett yesterday, and he is going out there with Kelvin and Kelvin's parents. I think Chris DePiero is going out there. Danielle's going to, I don't know if she wants people to know this, but she might join us. So
Lynn, get some security. From what I hear, this crowd's going to be a little rowdy.
Little rowdy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, yeah, we're getting, and I'm putting it out there. If any of our Long Island people, like I know David Schoen, Matthew Lee Pelosi's out there, our friend Darren Romeo is out there, Brandon Cutrell is out there, and his husband. Yeah, we're going to Casa Rianos. And that is Jericho Turnpike. Let me see it. The writing is very small, so I don't know if I can see that. But
East Jericho Turnpike, Miranda, New York.
Miranda or Mineola?
Mineola, sorry,
yeah.
Miranda.
That's all right. Mineola, Long Island. So, put it in your navigation and see how long it's going to take. I'm sure there's a train close by. I know a lot of our New York people are taking trains out there. So it's going to be so fun. I can't wait, because when Lynn and I used to do our shows up at the Cloisters, that was such a nice group of people that would come, and you get something delicious to eat. It's a wonderful Italian restaurant. I already know. I think I might be getting a chicken parm. I've been thinking about it all week. So,
all right, here's a question for you.
What?
Estimate, round it up. How many songs are in that genius's head, I wonder?
Millions.
Millions?
Millions. I'm telling you, okay, let's say 100,000. And then how many jingles alone has she written? How many emusis? And by the way, yes, this is the same Lynn Portage genius that created the Emusi app, EMUSI app. Go right now. Most of these people that I see right now have it. If you don't have it, go to your iPhone, your Android, whatever, and download the Emusi app. And you want to send someone a musical text, Lynn Portage, genius.
She had $1 for everything that she's written and composed. She could probably bail out somebody who needs a lot of money right now, I bet.
She probably could. Now, I got to tell you, tonight's show is super, super, super cool. It's not just going to, I'm sure it's going to be fun, but it's going to be cool. Like, put your shades on tonight, because this is a cool show, because dum, 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 dum. Our guest tonight is my friend. She happens to be Lynn Portage's daughter, but she's my friend as well. And she has been doing amazing things in the legal world for years and years and years and years. And I've wanted to have her on the show for the longest time. Her sister Jackie was on our show. Our Dr. Jackie is the official doctor of What's the Story with Maria. And John Giuliano has been on our show. You know, he is a surfer extraordinaire with that little electric surf thing that he uses. And I think I'm not sure if Andrew was on the show. Maybe he popped
Yeah,
on.
Andrew's been on the show.
And
Another genius.
yeah, another genius. And I said, wait a minute. I saw her recently and I was like, we got to get Nicole on. So she said, well, I'm starting my own business. I'm going into, opening my own practice. And this was a perfect time. So are we ready for our friend Nicole Giuliano? Dum 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 dum. There she is. Yay.
Hi.
Hi, Nicole. How are you doing, honey?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And you know what? It's not that I didn't, I've had all your brothers and sisters on, but only because there were things that would pop on, like Jackie came on during COVID and helped us with that, and there were different things. But I love what's happening. I mean, you have been in this field for a long time,
Yep.
and now you're going into a whole new chapter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at some of this is really cool new stuff. So, Nicole, why don't you tell us? I mean, I know what you've been doing because we're friends, but tell everybody where you've been working and the kind of work that you are in.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Nicole Giuliano. I'm a criminal defense attorney. This is what I do. Attorneys are licensed to practice law in any state that they have a license in. They can do any kind of law, anything from contracts to real estate to, criminal defense. What I do is I specialize. I specialize in this area that really does need a specialist in order to be effective. I'll handle some fringe issues if they relate to the criminal case, but what I am by trade is a criminal defense attorney. Before starting my own practice, I was a public defender for 10 years. A public defender is an individual who works for an organization, most commonly known as Legal Aid Society. However, I worked for New York County Defender Services. They're a very prestigious public defender in Manhattan. The public defenders, they represent people who can't pay, which is a very large percent of people who are
Mhm.
arrested and charged with crimes. So public defenders are pretty much some of the hardest working, most skilled attorneys out there, which is contrary to some popular belief that they might be overworked or underpaid, and then as a result not giving the best product. And while those
Right.
things are possible, public defenders are make for the most exceptional lawyers. So
I
I'm very,
agree.
very proud to be cut from that cloth.
Wow, I love that. And you know what? I mean, what you said is, I think, is exactly what people think. They think, I'm sure that person's completely overworked, because that is a huge section of people that do need lawyers, right? People that
Yeah.
can't afford. Like when you said that, the first thing I thought of was the Miranda law. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the first. And God, thank God that that is in our justice system, because, like you said, I think, but and that is like a huge relief when I hear that. Anytime I hear that on a TV show, or I've heard it, you're like, you kind of exhale. You're like, oh, okay, good. But you have to really know your stuff, because you're getting things like on a dime, right? And you have to be ready all the time at
Yeah.
what you're assigned. It's not like you can always pick and choose, right? You
Oh,
have
yeah.
to. So
Yeah.
talk
I mean,
about
that's a huge
being thrown
distinction. You
into
can't
the
choose at
fire, and
all.
like, you have to survive, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a big part of it. I mean, that's a big part of why public defenders make for some of the most skilled lawyers out there, is because you don't get to choose your cases, right? You don't get to say no, or you don't get to say, I have a lot going on right now. I can't handle this
Yeah.
very high profile media case. You don't get to say, hey, this person is facing a lot of jail time. You just work harder. You just work harder, and you just, if you care, which of course, like in your county defender services, that they care.
Yeah.
then you just work harder, and you make space for that person. You make space for that case because their case is important.
Well,
Um,
that takes a very specific type of personality. Like what
yeah,
you are doing is not for the faint of heart, and it's not for the average person. And you have to be, this is the way I see it. I don't know, but this is the way I see it. You not only have to be extremely intelligent, but you have to have a really big heart. And
yeah,
that doesn't always, it doesn't always coincide. There are people that are super brainy, but socially, they're somewhere else. And then there are people like me that's in entertainment and I'm kind of a nut, but you wouldn't want to leave me with something super, like serious to do because I wouldn't know how to do it. So someone like you has to have that incredible, like, s- balance
thank you.
and sing. I'm serious. Now, this is, it's not off the record because it's on my record. It's in my,
It's on
but
the
I've
record.
known you since you were 5. I've known you, and you have always been that. You have
Yeah,
always been that kid that was super intense, so like you B A to B. You got what you did what you had to do. You were always working on something, and what I never forget is that you always cared about the little guy. You
yeah.
always cared about the underdog.
And that's kind of something that I step into this private field with, like, a unique advantage here, is that I have this combination of experience in public defense, but also experience in criminal defense that not too many people can emulate. So I was a public defender for 10 years. Your average burnout, your average turnover of public defenders, you got like 3 or 4 years before the volume of cases, the type of cases, just the sheer pressure of trials, of the workload gets to you. And that's
Mm,
that's that's normal. But I stuck it out for 10 years because I absolutely love the job, good under pressure. I love the challenge. But what happens is over time, right? Not only does the caseload stay high, does the work stay high, but the type of cases that you start taking on because you become more qualified are more
mm,
intense. The factual allegation more intense. There's more jail time on the line. The pressure keeps building and
wow.
building. And you know what they say about pressure, it makes diamonds. So, I am an
I love
extremely
that.
experienced attorney as far as what you're going to get because of my unique experience as a decade of experience in public defense. Um,
Yeah.
so,
In
when
in
my
New York.
clients are
In New
in New
York.
York, in Manhattan, yeah,
That's a
in
big
Manhattan,
deal. We're not talking
yeah,
about someplace out in some
yeah,
little area. We're talking about the probably the busiest court system in America,
right,
right?
yes. Yes, and also, you're also talking about Manhattan as opposed to, 10 years in the Bronx or Brooklyn, which are, places that absolutely need good defense lawyers, how and still have high rates of arrest. However, the practice in Manhattan is just anytime you're in a more conservative space, Nassau County, Manhattan, Queens, as opposed to Brooklyn and Bronx, politically conservative, you're getting everything is connected, so there are
Mm,
prosecutors offices are more conservative, so you're facing a more uphill battle
wow.
when you're going up against an opponent, the prosecutor, the police, the judges. It just not the, I mean, I don't want to disparage it. It's just a different culture. So yes, I would consider myself someone who learned how to do criminal defense in a very intense space, and
Right.
that is the product that I offer.
Okay, I'm going to take a second because I love what you just said. And you said not disparaging, but you have to really focus in. You have to like kind of let things, I don't even see it as bouncing off of you. It's kind of like you have to just, it's like you have to have a suit of armor on and yet keep your heart soft. Like that's how I see you. That's
Yeah.
not always the case. That's why I think you're so special. But let's just take a second, and I want to people are saying hello, and let's acknowledge them. um so your sister, who is one of my favorite people, of course, our
Mine
doctor.
too.
Yes, I mean, love my little Jackie, who now is a doctor, of course. But Jackie, Jacqueline Marie is screaming Nicole. I know she's screaming. And the funny thing is, when I think of you guys, I always think of you together because when I see you, you're such like you talk about a double power. You know, my sister and I are like that. When we're together, it's like some of our friends are like, you guys are a little scary together. Because it's you and Jackie are like that. You're so strong and you love each other and you care about each other. And you're also really good at different things. So you're getting like an amazing package of sisters there. So Jackie, we love you. Sending love out. Joseph Brennan says rock star. You know, that's your dad. There he is. He's amazing. We love our Joe. Kat Costigan, that's your
Yes.
friend, says the
Yeah,
best.
former public defender. Yeah.
I love this. Says the best attorney I know. And best is in capital letters. So now I've seen you in social settings when I've met your friends, and your friends are like amazing. You have a lot of amazing friends that have worked with you as well. So, you know, these
I
are
have
not
very good
slouches.
taste.
I know you do. I know you do. So, what was it? I know, I mean, I've known you since you were kids, so I know you always had that personality. But what was it, and when did it happen where you're like, you know what? This is what I want to do for a living.
Well, I I I knew I wanted to be an attorney when I was when I was little, when I was a little kid. Um, I always knew it. It's like one of those things I decided young, and I was just dead set on it. When I got to law school, I tried on a couple different areas of law, but really trials were very attractive to me. The idea of going to trial, the idea of winning a trial, the idea of arguing in court. And the only place that you really truly get to do that and like help people, really
Mm,
help people who need it the most, that's criminal defense.
wow.
So it became like quite obvious to me at a certain point in law school, and there was no turning back ever. Um, and even to this day, you know, when I'm looking at a career change, you know, I could say I'm done with criminal defense. I want to do something else. I want to do something that's less stressful. That's even more lucrative. But this is where my passion is. This is what I love. So this is what I want to do. So
I
it's
love
just
that.
it's almost like fate, if that makes sense. There was nothing else. It was
I,
always this.
I love that. I love that. That's fantastic. Now, um, you're taking everything that you know, all your passion, all your um, experience, because you've had how many cases you think you've been part of?
Oh, like 10,000, 10. I mean, yeah,
What?
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, because, I mean, you're counting every case, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
some case there are small cases, there's big cases. Yeah, I mean, uh,
What you
yeah,
just said, 10,000?
I mean, 10 years.
That's
So
crazy.
maybe, I mean, yeah, like as
That's
far as
amazing.
numbers of cases that have just been, yeah.
Wow. So that's incredible. Talk about experience. Okay. So now you're at this point and you're saying, I want to take what I know and all my experience, which is obviously like tremendous, and I want to do what? So you're going to the next level and
Yeah.
tell us what you're doing now.
Well, I'm gonna build a business out of what I do best. I'm going to build a company that is essentially the best parts of where I come from and the best parts of where I'm going. I think that anytime you're an individual who wants like growth, like that's what made me successful as an attorney for all these years, is that I'm always looking to push limits. I'm always looking to go bigger, go more, make that new argument, take on that new case. And this is kind of part of that natural progression for me. So I'm looking to grow myself.
Mhm.
And by doing that, I will invest in my practice. It'll just be a new motivator that is just different than before.
Right.
And I would have reached new heights at the old job. I'm just that kind of person. It's
Right.
just this is what I've chosen, and this is where I'm going to succeed next.
Yeah, and I love it. And now, are you going to be? Is there a certain area that you're going to represent in your
Like a
private
certain type
practice?
of crime.
Well, oh, that, and also, like, is it Long Island? Is it Manhattan? Is it the Bronx? Where can we, if there's a
Yeah.
crime committed, who is going to be calling Giuliano Law?
Well, any one of the 5 boroughs, Staten Island, it frankly
Doesn't
would
matter.
probably be too
Okay.
expensive for you. But, any one of the 5 boroughs, and Nassau County are my focus for the right case,
Right.
travel. But, on that's where my area is. I'm on trial right now in the Bronx, and, was in Manhattan this morning. We'll be in Manhattan tomorrow, Nassau County later in the month. So it's wherever, focusing, narrowing down to criminal defense is that's what I've done. So some people narrow down by I'm going to serve Nassau County and I'm going to do a lot of different things. I'm going to do criminal defense in different areas, physical locations.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's just take a second again because people are commenting and asking questions. So uh, let me see. So ask Nick. Okay, so your mom, who my best buddy, ask
Genius.
Nicole. Genius, absolutely. Oh, it says ask Nicole about jury selection. And actually, thank you for reminding me, Lynn, because it was one of the questions in my head all day. And I think people ask about that all the time. I've been on. I love jury duty, by the way. I'm one of those crazies. If I get it first, I'm like, I love it, and I've always been chosen. I have never not been chosen on a jury, and I love it. I learned so much. And so your mom says, ask Nicole about jury selection. So how we all would love to know about that.
Okay. So jury selection is a process by which you decide who's going to be on your jury. And frankly, it's actually the opposite. You're not really deciding who's going to be on the jury. You're more deciding who's not going to be on the jury. Because you really don't you have very limited time to get to know people.
Mm,
So really you can only make assumptions and your best guess. So focusing on who you don't want on your jury is actually a better way of looking at it than focusing on who is going to be good for you because you just don't
right,
know enough about a person.
right.
Um, but yeah, so they call it like selecting a jury, and then you're kind of like deselecting a jury.
Mm,
So
interesting.
you yeah, so I mean, and I actually love people that have done jury service in the past, especially when I see multiple jury service in the past. So you might keep getting picked
I
because
love
you've
it.
done it
I
so many
love it.
times. Because there's something about that comforts a lawyer. Like, all right, other lawyers thought this person would be fair too. Like I'm not. It's not just me thinking this person will be fair. Like this has been a tried and tested theory on this individual. But jury selection is a crazy experience. It's extremely nerve wracking
Mm.
for attorneys. Everyone likes to get up there and pretend they're 100% just super suave, just super at ease. But it only takes one person, just like stand up, just like live performance. It only takes one person to completely jam you up, and just like not with the if the crowd is not responding, you can very quickly find yourself, in a place
That's
where you're like,
really, really interesting. I want to stop you for a second. So it's so weird. I wouldn't think that as a person that has been on jury. So I always find it's nerve wracking for the jurors because
mhm,
everybody's completely freaking out. And
yeah.
so you're saying that it's nerve wracking for the lawyer because there's a way that you can feel tripped up in what sense? What would make you feel like what could go wrong? Like in a jury selection, what could go wrong for the lawyer?
Well, it's nothing can go wrong if you are prepared. So let
Okay.
me put it that way. So nothing can go wrong if you are used to doing it.
Right.
It's a difficult thing for new lawyers because they're scared about getting a bad answer, right?
Ah,
You ask this question that you're just like trying to teach all these strangers about your theory of law. It's the first time you're opening your mouth and your client is watching you and relying on you. It can be a lot of pressure for new lawyers. They're not ready for that bad answer.
Right,
But
right,
you have to love that bad answer. You take that bad
right.
answer and it's the best answer you ever got in your life. Like, for example, an individual has a right not to testify if they choose not to, right? That's the Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. You could say, what do you think? Do you think a person should should talk if they're charged with a crime? And somebody says, yeah, I think that. If you're innocent, you're gonna say you're innocent. Very common thing for people to think. You love
Mm,
that. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Does anyone else agree with that? That's a really normal thing to feel. Does anyone else agree with that? Okay,
right.
let's talk about it. It's the bad answer is a good answer because it
Whoa.
tells you, hey, this person, like I said, deselection might not be good for this jury. And it gives people space to agree with that, right? You make space for that bad answer to come out. So I think that I don't know why we got on topic of jury selection
Your mom
with
asked.
experience. Yes, with experience is, can be a wonderful thing. And what I always tell new lawyers is it's talking to people about the law. You talk to
Right,
people about the law all the time,
right,
constantly. It's your job. It's you just doing your job. Just talk to
right.
people about the law.
But you know what? I love this because one of the things that I always did love about jury duty was I felt extremely educated by the lawyers. And because I was learning all the time. And it's
Yeah.
fascinating. And another thing, and I'm putting this out there because it's your duty, everybody. Like I get so tired of people saying, "Oh, I'm gonna make up some man." It's your duty.
Oh my God.
You would want an amazing jury if you were on trial. You would want
Yeah.
people that cared and were
Yeah.
fair. So be that person. I've always felt that. And let me see, Tiffany. Oh, Camille Ament says, "Love this." And Tiffany Rose Cooper says, I love that for you, Nicole. Congratulations and wishing you much success. Andrew Brennan, uh, also genius, says, love the blog part of her website. Honestly, a lot of really well explained information. Thank you, Andrew. So, how can we find the blog part of your website, Nicole?
Yes, you can go to the website. There's a whole section on blogs. Blogs are just basically to different topics. It's of course the website is coming. It's a work in progress because there's constantly information being added. So, for example, practice areas. Every single one of these topics is not written by AI. It's all written by me.
Wow.
Because I care very, very deeply about my content being my own. So, these practice areas that are listed here, this is not the extent of the practice areas. I do everything. I've represented every single person, every single crime listed in the penal law. Almost. Well, I shouldn't. That's an overstatement because there's always something new out there. But
Mm.
the majority of crimes in the penal law, and I'm adding them once the content I create it myself because I care very deeply. Nothing's going on my website that I didn't create. I just
I
can't.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, I want to go back to the what you were saying as a bad answer is you use it as an opportunity. It's this like it's all there's always a teachable moment in life, right? And I find the same thing. Like if something goes wrong wherever, because I am also a teacher, you have to take when something is a little off and use it and say this is like the universe is sending me this opportunity. So I love that. That was really informative. Thank you for that. And
Well, and it also tells you what people are thinking. And like
mm,
you cannot be an effective attorney unless you really care deeply about what other people are thinking. Like
right.
you might think you have the best, most creative, most intelligent argument ever, but if the people around you, the judge, the jury, the prosecutor, whoever you're trying to convince at that moment, even your client, if they are not receiving your information, if you're not presenting it in a way that they can receive it, it's useless.
Right.
So you have to listen to people and hear what they have to say.
Yeah. I always was also like just blown away when we would go back to discuss the case and the people that I thought were thinking the way I was thinking were not like how different people do things. So you're
Hmm.
right.
Yes.
It's mind-blowing. You're like,
Yes.
"Do you just hear the same thing I heard? Because I didn't
Uh-huh.
hear that." And
Yep.
demographics also are really, and women and men,
Sure.
like the women, we would look at each other like, "What is he talking about?" Because
Mhm.
we didn't see that, so it's just, and judges, I find that, different judges, react differently to things,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
totally.
it's really fascinating. Like, I highly recommend that if you do get called for jury duty, that you just show up and be a good person, and and all that, and thank you for
Right,
everything that you
but
do.
also, Maria, like, if you're not gonna be a good juror,
Right, then say it.
then say that.
Right.
Say that too. It's
You're
fucking
absolutely
rude.
right. You're absolutely right. But
Bye.
yeah, but you know what?
Bye. Thank
You
you.
know that. You know who those people are. Those people that go in, they're like so ready to, you can always tell. You guys know that that's what you do. And especially you've been doing it for so long and all that. I mean, so yeah, this is
Yeah.
delicate stuff. It's fascinating. Um, and so now you're going to be doing the same thing, criminal law. Are you also someone that if someone came to you with a, let's say, a corporate, some kind of a corporate, like a bankruptcy, and said, we're being sued. Listen, we'd like to hire you because you're really. Would you take that case?
Realistically, I would probably refer that out because
Oh,
honestly, at this stage, you unless I was working hand in hand with a corporate lawyer, right? Like
uh-huh.
in 10 years down the line, I look at this video and I'm like, Nicole, like you grew an empire of all the
Right.
law. Like, great, awesome. But for now, like my expertise is in criminal defense. And like
Wow.
it is just so dense. I mean, I have it like this is just the book on it. All right. And that's just the book. And then there's a centuries of case law, meaning court developed law. And then there's perception of the community and society. And then there's so much, then there's policy changes with every new DA. So it's just such a complicated topic in and of itself that you would want the person that you're hiring, the person that you're trusting with your reputation, with your life, with your liberty. You want them to be an expert in what you do. You don't want them to do real estate closings on the
Mm,
side and,
I love that.
like dip into this and that. If you love your lawyer and you love the way you fight for them, and I've done work for you and you ask me to do something else, and I say, hey, listen, I don't really do that, but I'll do this for you because, we have a good relationship,
Right.
that would be a separate thing. But it would
Right.
like this, what I do exceptionally well. And it's because I am an expert in this field and I don't necessarily like a podiatrist versus a cardiologist, like they're all doctors, right? But like there is some fields that need specialization, and criminal defense is really one of them.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sold. You're absolutely right. Now we have a very, very interesting question that I must. So Danielle Alexandria says, I have a question. Would you recommend me saying I'm a psychic in selection? She actually is a psychic. So if
Okay.
she was on a jury, and would you recommend her telling the truth and saying she was a psychic? Would you want to know that?
Well, if that's your profession and you've taken an oath, to tell the truth and you're in jury selection, you actually have to say it, right? Like you're not actually in a position where you can't say it. And then it's going to be up to the lawyers to decide whether or not they want to put you on the jury. I think it depends on the case. But I think there would be like a lot of things going through my mind. Like, are my jurors going to be able to interact with you in a productive way, right? That's the
Mm,
first thing that comes into my mind. Like, okay, how does this person's profession, and this applies to every profession, doctors, like, are the jurors going to look to a doctor and be like, oh, I got to listen to this person? Or
mm,
lawyers. If you put a lawyer, I had a lawyer on my last jury, it was a major concern. Is everyone going to say, oh, what is the law on this? Oh, and defer to that person.
wow.
Or, if any profession. So just like any
Interesting.
profession, I'm going to say, okay, are people going to ask you about like the future here? Or, like, it would depend on the other answers you gave, frankly, because anyone can be a good juror. You would be shocked how many times you think someone fits some type of mold when you first start talking to them, and then what comes out of their mouth is brilliant, and you're like, wow, you're great.
Yep.
Like, you've got this. So it really would depend on the rest of your answers, whether or not I think I would select you, and depend on the case. But yes, you should be honest about your profession, about everything in your life, because that's what you're there to do, and you take an oath.
Wonderful. Thank you. That always made me nervous, she said. Okay, no, but I get, you got to just be yourself and see, like Nicole said, what people say about that. So, and you're right, but everybody's different, right? So but if you, like you said, if there was someone on a case, say that was a mechanic, and it had
Mhm.
to do with, maybe a Chrysler made something, was in an accident, and maybe you're right. Everybody would say, "What do you think?"
I Let's get complicated here, Maria. What about women on a sexual abuse case? Are men gonna defer to you know what I mean? Like, are men, if and assuming the stereotypical, allegations against a man, for a female complainant, that's a difficult consideration. So it really, there are a lot of difficult considerations all the time about who gets on a
Right.
jury. And it's just calculated. And it really, you have to listen to what people are saying, and make the best choices you can in the moment.
Yeah, one of the things that I always that's a really good point. One of the things that I always thought would be so difficult if I were a lawyer on something like this, like these high profile cases, like
Yeah.
that's really hard because people we're inundated with news, right? Or
Yeah.
people read it they read it in a newspaper, they talk to a friend, whatever it is, it's like it's so hard not to be influenced, right?
Yeah.
But I do like, and I keep going back to the cases that I was on because I love them. I was so fascinated. But for me, it was always the lawyers. Always, every time. There would be times when I would go in and I would think one thing going in, like, oh, this person
Mhm.
is definitely guilty, or this person,
Mhm.
and then the lawyer would show evidence or talk, and I'd be like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
I completely changed my mind. So,
Right.
that's why it's so important to have a good lawyer. So important, you know,
Yes. And that's a lot of the
absolutely.
job. Like, a lot of the job is changing minds. A lot
Yeah,
of the job is like, can you change someone's mind? Can you change the minds of jurors walking down the street? Can you change the minds of prosecutors who think they know their case, and you're going to try to convince them that they don't know their case, or
right.
you have something to share? Can you change the mind of a judge who, doesn't want to release your client, but you've got a plan, and you've proven, that their initially held, thought is just not necessarily the complete picture.
Right.
That's a lot of what a criminal defense attorney has to do, because you're fighting immediately against bias and prejudice.
Of
When
course,
someone's charged with a crime, your first gut reaction is,
they're
"Oh my
guilty.
god."
Right.
They're
But
gonna I mean, like, that's life. Like your girlfriend comes to you and says, "Oh my god, this jerk." What do you think? "Oh, liar."
right.
Like, it's just like in our nature to be trusting of information when it comes from someone who's sitting in front of us, looking in our face, telling us these things.
Mm,
But our real life experiences unfortunately tell us that people aren't always truthful. People aren't always accurate. Unfortunately, they're just not always accurate, even when they're trying to be truthful.
and
Things aren't
what
always what they seem.
Right,
And
and that this is my big take on all of it. There's always more to it than meets the eye. Always. Like, and every day and every information that's brought to you is a whole new revelation. So you're like,
yeah,
"Oh, I didn't think of that." And the
yeah,
lawyers, a good lawyer's job. When I've seen bad lawyers too, like where I was like, "This guy doesn't have a clue what he's talking about." But I would be always be fascinated with new evidence, a new, a new witness, but where someone was just, I hate to use the word chipping away, but it was more like just keep building on it, building on it. building on it. So you're like reinforcing. I guess that's the word I'm that comes to mind, And I think that, and that's what I get from you. Like you would be someone that I would hire in a minute because I know that that person is going to have my best interest at heart. They are going to do every research that needs to be done. I'm going to be in the best hands, and the information is going to be correct. The information that the jury gets, I'm going to be completely taken care of. Like that's a big deal.
And you know what, Maria? You'd be right.
I
You'd be right.
love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
you
Okay,
would.
let's take a second. Because I don't know if I told you, but we do a food section of our show. So
Ooh.
yes, always. If I ask people to come on and be spontaneous and creative and informative, then I have to do that every week. So I cook every week. And what did I make this week? I made I didn't want to leave the house today because I have been so overextended that I was like, I'm staying home. I don't care. So I didn't go food shopping. I said, did what my mother always used to do. What's in the refrigerator and what am I going to make with it? So I made chicken. This is chicken I chopped up and I marinated with a marsala, cumin, garlic, onion, and also some other spice that I'll think of it in a minute because I had all these things I was throwing in there. I chopped up carrots, I have peas, and portobello mushrooms. So, and then I made a delicious sauce with some heavy cream, and I used all those spices in there. And I put it over fusilli.
Ooh.
So I just made what I had in the refrigerator, but it's really smells good. So that's what I made tonight. And my salad, of course, I love salad. I had romaine lettuce, Sicilian olives, red onion, and baby Persian cucumbers. And I'm going to put a Sicilian lemon vinaigrette on that and a Tuscan herb olive oil. That is going to be my salad. Now, don't judge me. No pun intended. But I'm not going to eat this whole thing because I'm usually on the keto. But look at this beautiful piece of cake. This is a chocolate ganache, chocolate mousse ganache cake. And let me tell you, there's a bakery in a Turkish bakery. I discovered Turkish bakeries. This is a new thing this year. I am in love with Turkish bakeries. If you have one in your neighborhood, go and support these people. First of all, they're so beautiful. And it's such a culture that I'm like falling in love with. And their food is amazing and their desserts are to die for. So the one I go to is in Cliffside Park, New Jersey. It's called Satay, Satay. Special shout out to Satay Bakery. They're the loveliest people you can imagine. So big shout out to them. And and now nobody gives me any free stuff. I love what I love and I talk about it. So that's it. That is the truth, counselor. So okay. So
We'll see when I get through with you.
I know. Listen, I'm like
we'll see what they think.
I'm the worst liar. You would know I was lying in 2 seconds. I'm the worst. So, okay, let's go. Let me see. Let's check in. So, Lynn Portis says, so cool. This is so cool, right? Rena Cugnali-Berge, who is my cousin from Massachusetts, has joined us. She says, go ahead, keep eating. That's the segment of our show. You two are amazing, says Susan Campanero. And Mandar, our friend Mandar, he always writes down exactly what I say for food. Mandar, you are the keeper of all my recipes. Bill Goffey has checked in. Let me see. Okay. All right. So now we want to encourage everybody to please, you always can share our show. We love that. The show, as soon as we're done with it, then it's offered up. You can share it. And it also goes into podcasts and Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. And feel free to share it with your friends. Also, let's all hope we never need a lawyer. But if you do need a lawyer, and you probably will, you want to go with the very best of the very best, someone that cares about you, someone that takes your case seriously, and someone that has years and years and years of experience. And there is no better than Nicole Guliano. And now Guliano Law exists. So you are the owner, you are the lawyer. This is your passion has now grown into something even bigger and better. So we are so happy for you. I'm so happy for you, but I'm even more happy for the people that you're going to represent because they are in good hands. Leo, please join us.
Hi, I missed out on chocolate cake.
You missed the chocolate cake,
Oh,
Leo. We share our love for desserts. Look at this, Leo.
I know. The
Isn't
only
this
thing that's
amazing?
wrong is it's got pistachios, but I don't care. I
I
would
don't think
survive
it
the night.
has. I don't. Yeah, they do have a Turkish people and Greeks. They use a lot of that whole part of the world. A lot of pistachios. So Nicole, is this already existing, or you're starting? Has the business already begun?
The business has begun. I've got clients. I am working. Yeah, I mean it started day one.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's
And just like
it's
a
going.
lawyer, where are you right now?
Where am I now?
She's
Uh-huh.
in her office.
I'm in my office.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, beautiful. Now I do
Yeah.
want to. I have to throw this in because okay, I say
Oh.
this. This is I got to show everybody. This is for me and my. This is how long I've known these beautiful little babies. These are Lynn's babies. This is Nicole. Here's Nicole. There she is. That's how
Yeah.
long I have known this counselor. So she and you, even then, Nicole, you were
Yeah.
intense and
Yeah.
smart and always, literally always for the underdog.
Yeah.
Always,
Absolutely.
you know.
I know that your show has like a heavy focus, like, you embrace your Italian heritage in
I
the
do.
show. So I thought of a reference that would help explain what it is that I do.
Okay.
So, in The Godfather, how Tom is not a wartime consigliere, right?
Hmm.
I if he's a peacetime consigliere and they're important, they're needed. But if you want to understand what it is that I do, I am a wartime consigliere. That is what I am. And I looked it up because I was like, what really? I always knew it was me, but I'm like, let me see. It's a senior advisor, okay, who has the cunning and ruthlessness that is necessary to defeat the enemy in times of open conflict. Okay.
Yes,
This is me. That is what I do. So I know your viewers will understand it in that context. So if you
completely.
ever need a wartime consigliere, I've got you.
Completely. Now, we're all coming to the end of our show. I can't believe it. But I always ask people that are my guests to leave our listeners and our viewers with something like inspirational, right? So my question to you is on like great, you're like a you know, you're intense, you're focused, you're passionate, but where do you draw from even on the hard days? Like if people out there are listening, they're like, yeah, but I have hard days, like what do you do on a hard day? People are looking to you to like for inspiration. Like what do you recommend to our listeners when things get really hard and you have to stay focused? What do you draw from?
Well, of course, there's, your family, your support. I think that is, nothing could, be above that, be above my family, my support, just like how everyone's been behind me, but beyond that, more specific to what I do, I think that what I do can be very disturbing sometimes, upsetting, emotional, um, like tireless, but it also makes you grateful. It makes you grateful to be essentially in a position to be fighting for people and not necessarily in the position that you need someone fighting for you. So
Mhm.
you get that perspective of having of, essentially like just basic basic days, like time. Like I get to live my life the way I want to live my life, and not all my clients get to do that.
Mm,
And that in and of itself is something I draw a lot of motivation, a lot of strength from. Do you look at situations where people really need help, and when you're feeling really upset and depressed or whatever about your life, about the case, about whatever, you just get grateful. Just get grateful because, there's just always, always ways in which things could be worse and more than you even can imagine.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Okay, so Nicole Giuliano is an amazing criminal defense lawyer. She is started her own business. As a human being, I cannot even recommend her enough. She's an incredible human being. As a lawyer, you can't touch her. And I'm just telling everybody out there, if she is your girl, she is your person, she is your attorney. So go and everybody should just go to the website anyway. And what is the website, Leo, my friend?
It's right there underneath her name,
Okay.
GulianoLaw.com.
GulianoLaw.com. Please go. And the Giuliano is spelled Guliano. Go and check out Nicole's website. And, you hope you never need a criminal lawyer, but if you do, you want the very best.
We got one in the family, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
And
you do.
And I love that wartime. Wow, that was really intense. Okay, so Nicole,
Maria, before
what,
we
honey?
go, we have a couple of birthdays that we definitely need to celebrate.
Oh,
One
cool.
very important one. Well, there's three of them actually, all on the same day. One goes to her,
Oh,
Miss
Patches.
Patches. She has turned 8 years old today.
Oh my goodness. Happy
And
birthday,
then
Patches.
we have also a very illiterate man who wrote a lot of plays. His birthday is today, and
Who's
Death
that?
Day is today. And also
Oh,
a
G.
very handsome
Enrique.
man. And
G.
Shakespeare.
Enrique and Shakespeare's birthday today. Perfect day to have Nicole Giuliano
Right.
on our show. So it's good luck. And Nicole, I'm going to give you the last, whatever you want to leave us with, honey, the last word that you want to leave us
Hmm.
with.
Well, I guess thank you for having me. And I'm going to go retire to my nightly routine.
I love it. I love it. Okay, well, we want to thank our guest, Nicole Giuliano. I want to thank Leo Rodriguez, who is my right-hand man, and I don't know what I'd do without Leo. We want to thank everybody out there. And if you're free this Sunday between 6:30 and 9:30, we're going to see Lynn Portis at Casariano's on Jericho Turnpike in Mineola. So why don't you join us? And Nicole, I love you to pieces. I can't thank you enough for making time to come on and
Absolutely.
carry on the great work you are doing. How wonderful that we have people that will take care of things so we don't have to worry as much about it. So thank you, honey bunny, and we'll see you really soon.
All right. Take care.
Everyone getting their last in comments.